Oh, that smells so delicious. Good evening. Hi. I've had a few people bend in my ear saying that I haven't done a Finding Phil's Flavours for a while. And I posted a beautiful picture of a curry that was a Phil twist the other night. And quite a few different people sent messages saying, oh my gosh, that curry looked amazing. And I'll tell you, it really, really was. Steve?
Yeah, look beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, there you are. So I'm going to make one tonight. I'm going to use some different ingredients because I've been out earlier on to the co-op at the end of the street and I picked up a few other ingredients. And one of the great things about a curry, obviously there's very traditional curries, but there's also the fact that you can pretty much use any ingredients that you want, because I picked up this jar of Sharwood's Jal-Philzi sauce. I like this one because it's a 3-spice chilli, so it's got a bit of a bite to it, bit of heat that comes out of there. So I've just put the pan on and I put a little bit of oil in the bottom, and I've also added a little splash of chilli sauce in there. And I've done this in particular because I just like that little edge that it gives it on top. So that's just starting to cook up now. So I'm just going to throw into there. So what we're going to put in this evening, I've got some courgette, fresh, that I've just chopped up, a little bit of celery, some green beans, some mushrooms, some onion, quite a bit of garlic, because you can't have too much garlic, some sweet cherry tomatoes, and then I've got some chicken that was already pre-cooked, a little bit of creme fraiche, some tomato puree, one of my secret ingredients, an OXO cube, and some curry powder. Actually, there's something else that I'll add to that, and that'll be some Oyster Bay Pinot Noir red wine, which is another little secret ingredient. In fact, Steve, that's probably a good opportunity for us to have a glass of wine, because what's the point of cooking in the kitchen if you can't have some red wine? That's what I say. So let's get started with this. Cheers, everybody. Good evening to you. I hope that you too are spending most evenings getting drunk. I saw a post earlier on, actually, that was, when all of this is over, do we go to Weight Watchers first or the AA? I think most people are eating and drinking in abundance, but what a fortunate position for us to be in. Cheers. So, okay, so I put this oil on and a bit of chilli in there. I'm just going to cook some of the onion down to start with. Just put that into the pan and that will start to cook up there. Just take that crispness out of the onion. It also takes some of the harshness out of the onion as well. Don't you just love the sound of that? And you start to get fresh ingredients sizzling in the bottom of the pan. Do we have anybody watching, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody commented as yet? I know you don't like to...
James Dunphy said, here we go, looking forward to this.
Hi James, how you doing? This is the curry that you said you liked, wasn't it? Or liked the look of. So, one of the great things about making a curry at home is, for me, it's about colours and textures, a bit like if you do Thai food or Chinese food. Our Asian friends seem to know all about mixing flavours and getting different flavours, different textures, and making them all work together. So we've got in there the onion cooking down. We've got some mushrooms in there. I've gone for field mushrooms this time. I'm also going to put in this garlic. Who are we going to meet? No meetings tomorrow, face to face. Good job it's all over Zoom and Skype these days, isn't it? So literally just putting all of that into the pan. You can smell that beautiful, beautiful fresh garlic. We've got some extra big cloves of garlic, or bulbs of garlic with huge cloves on them. Right, we're just going to get some of this Pinot Noir. I'm just going to throw that in there just to give it a bit more sauce. Yikes. have it. So that's just now cooking down in there. Get a close up of this, Steve. So there we are. We've got the red wine. We've got the onion simmering in the bottom there as that's cooking up. The mushrooms are in there as well. So now what I'm going to make up is some more of the sauce. So I'm going to use some tomato puree, which I'm just going to give that a good squeeze there. That's probably about 10 or 11 centimetres worth. Going to give that a stir. Going to stir in that beautiful richness of that tomato puree. And then going to get some curry powder. Quite simple. This one came from Tesco's, medium curry powder. I'm just going to shake that over like so. I'd probably put half a teaspoon in there of curry powder. We'll give that a stir as well. I'm going to stir that in. And what that also does, that is now cooking in with the mushrooms as well, and that will absorb. I've also got in the fridge just a little bit left over, some creme fraiche. Just going to take that down a heat, and we're just going to throw in that creme fraiche in there. There's only about a tablespoon, a good tablespoon there. I'm just finishing that off. And that will also help to give it the extra creaminess, because what you'll see I'm doing is building up an extra base sauce in here. So I've got this sauce that's going to go in with the Jal-Philzi, but I'm building up an extra base sauce because we put the red wine in there, the tomato puree, the cream, some extra curry powder. So we're just enhancing the flavour of what we're going to get from this Jal-Philzi, which means because of the amount of chicken that I'm using, that sauce will also stretch a little bit further as well, because we do like it quite saucy. Right, I'm going to throw these greens in there now. In fact, I can just throw all of those in. So the great thing about these chopping boards is literally slide it in. And the same again in terms of how many ingredients you use is entirely up to you. The most important thing is that you want to be able to have this freshness of ingredients, and it's whatever tickles your fancy really. There's no rights and wrongs about what you want to put into a curry that you're making at home. The only thing you want to make sure happens is that you don't overcook it, or it's not something that's too soft and it all falls apart and doesn't give the right texture. The great thing about food is making sure you've got those defining textures and the variants that just works beautiful on the palate. Any messages, Steve?
No, there's a few people watching.
Quite a few people watching. Well, thank you all for watching. So we're making one of my special curries. There you can see, look at the colours in there now. So we can get rid of that as well. And it's really simple. So all we're doing is we're putting the red wine, we're putting the garlic, we're putting the onion, we're putting a little bit, I've used a little bit of chilli sauce in there as well, just to give it a bit of an extra kick. We've used quite a bit of garlic in there, but we are quite partial to our garlic. I'm going to put those cherry tomatoes in there. These are particularly sweet, fresh cherry tomatoes. You could use chopped tomatoes, sliced tomatoes. I'd try and avoid tinned tomatoes. Fresh tomatoes will give a different texture, but you can use tinned tomatoes. I've used tinned tomatoes in the past before. Now I'm going to get this beautiful OXO cube. I say beautiful because don't OXO cubes just give you, for those people that might have a couple more years under the belt, they just give you that lovely memory of growing up in the 80s and 90s, and OXO went into everything. I still love to use OXO cubes, and what I love about it when I'm making something like this is building up the different layers of flavours that are going to hit the palate in different areas, and also give a real richness in flavour as well. You know, cooking is all about, it's like an art form. It's just about being creative, and like somebody might be able to be a good painter or an artist or, you know, an architect. This is just bringing things together to build something, and what we're building here is a dish that's full of flavour and goodness and richness. And the great thing about a curry, using fresh vegetables like this, lots of garlic, the spices that we do, I'll tell you what I'm missing. What we're also missing in here is also very good for you, some some dried cumin there, which is a great spice, very good for you as well. And of course, you know, at the moment it's coronavirus, and obviously we're on lockdown. The most important thing at this moment in time is boosting your immune system. And you should be eating all the good things that boost the immune system. So actually, you know, in a time of crisis like now, you should be saying, right, what should I be eating? What you shouldn't be doing is ordering pizzas and crap on the internet. You should be going for wholesome foods. Your typical 5 a day, your vegetables, your fruit, and also spices that are full of goodness, garlic. These sort of things that are really going to boost your immune system. So if any virus does come knocking at your door, your immune system is built up and it's strong and it's going to fend off these viruses that just want to attack us and bring us down. And basically viruses take over our body when we haven't got the strength there to be able to fight against it. So it's really important to be able to fight against it. Right, I'm going to pour this chicken in here now. So there we are. There's some chicken that we had before. There's a lot of chicken going in there, hence why I just made up some extra sauce, but also it gives me that extra body as well. And now I'm just going to get this sauce. There we are, standard Sharwood's. There are other brands available. Some of the home brands are really good as well. And then, I don't know if anybody else does this, I'm just going to grab some milk from the fridge, pour that in there, there's probably a couple of tablespoons there, close the fridge back up, put the lid back on, give it a shake, gets all the sauce that's stuck on the lid and inside, and just pour that in there. Milk's great as well, because obviously that will just cook up with the rest of the food. And that's it. So what we're going to do now is literally stir all that in together. And you can smell the beautiful richness of those spices in there. You've got the cumin, you've got the curry sauce, you've got the bit of chilli in there, you've got the garlic. And you can smell all of that coming together and mixing. You've got the OXO cube in there as well. You've got the red wine in there, obviously, which will give you that extra, you'll get the tannins on the palate and the richness of the red wine on there. I do feel a little bit naughty, but I am going to add a little bit more red wine. Only because I know how I want this to cook and what sort of consistency I get. Of course, when you're cooking a dish like this in a big pan, then it's going to evaporate and it's going to thicken up quite quickly. And as we do like it quite saucy, then we don't want that to evaporate and dry up. We want to keep it nice and moist in there. And those flavours are going to sink into the chicken as well. And it just means that every single bite, we're going to get the crispness of the vegetables in there. You're going to get the flavours with the onion and the garlic. You're going to get that beautiful chicken that's soaked in that lovely curry and red wine sauce. And I must admit, I actually can't wait to get stuck into this, because when I made one last week, the flavours were so intense and rich, and it was just incredible, the most amazing dish. And then it makes me wonder why I don't make curries more often. Really, I should be making them more, because I do love them. And of course, you know, if you've got a palate like mine, spices just really get the juices flowing. There's nothing like getting the juices flowing, is there? Any comments, Steve?
Al said the cameraman is wobbly.
So we said this morning that we were not going to drink today. We was going to have a day off from drinking. It's not like we get smashed or drunk every day and night. A glass of wine, well, I'm told abroad, a glass of wine is good for the heart. So here's to my heart. From my heart to yours, good health. So there we are, so that's just bubbling up there now. What we want that to do is just to get those flavours. We want to bring it all up to the same heat, the same temperature, so it's consistent throughout. It will take a few minutes for that to just get the same heat travelling through the whole dish, and at the same time it's then passing those beautiful spices and flavours through the other parts of the dish, particularly the chicken that we put in last, and we just want that to cook in. But if you get a close-up of this again, Steve, you can just see, I'll just lift that out with a wooden spoon. You can see the cherry tomatoes in there, you can see the green beans, the chicken, the courgette. The onion's a bit smaller, so you can't really see that. The mushrooms are in there as well. You can see they're cooking down, they've shrunk a little bit. And that's exactly what we want. What we don't want to do is overcook this dish so it ends up soft and squidgy. We want to be able to tuck into it and get that beautiful crispness or softness or delicate flavours from the vegetables, mixing with those beautiful spices as well. This reminds me, although it's my own recipe, of just before our lockdown, just before they closed all the hospitality businesses, I had the very fortunate pleasure of going not once but twice in the same week to a brand new restaurant that's opened in the city called Dishoom, where the old Birmingham Library used to be, and all the new development they've built there. And the restaurant is called Dishoom, and it's an Indian restaurant, and it is incredible. Not only is it exquisite inside and decor and scale, the food is just out of this world. So if you come into the city and you like to dine out, then put Dishoom on your list for when you come back. One of the places I've actually said that I want to go to again, because I haven't been for a while, and I was talking about it with some friends, is Glyn Pennell's restaurant. Pennell's, obviously Glyn is the most amazing chef, he's a Michelin star chef, puts this to shame. Although the flavours here are incredible, I don't know whether he'd want me to serve it up in his restaurant. No, he's a Michelin star chef, and I haven't been there for a while, and I've been speaking with Glyn quite a bit recently, and yeah, that's on our diary. The only thing is Steve no longer eats red meat, so it sort of ruins it a little bit. Chicken and fish though, chicken and fish is alright. Right, okay, so that we've got that heat coming through now, so what I'm going to do is literally, I'll put all those over there. Nice and simple, you can cook it up from fresh. I've got fresh rice, dried rice in there, or you can go to good old brown basmati rice, this one from Sainsbury's. And that's, I'm going to do a minute on the clock, and then it will need another 30 seconds, but that other 30 seconds I'll poppity ping the plates in there as well, so we get that beautiful warmth going through the plates, so that when we serve the food onto it, it's not cold. You know, like they do in proper restaurants, you have a hot plate to serve your food on, or, you know, growing up, my mum always used to put the plates in the oven, which was quite entertaining sometimes when you went to collect your tea and you were juggling with a plate because it was so hot. A bit like one of them lizards running through the desert. So there we are. I think that is cooked up now. I think we've got the heat in there. I think we've got the flavours. I think the vegetables are all cooked in their own way, so we'll have the different textures in there. I'm going to put up 2 chopping boards and get 2 plates ready in the poppity ping. There we are. I'm going to turn that heat off because that literally is perfect. And somebody told me off for saying that when I've done the last couple of Phil's Flavours in the kitchen, I never tasted it and done the taste tests for you. Well, pretty much I know how it's going to taste because I know what I make within reason. But I'm going to do the taste test for you today. We should get Steve to do it, but he's shy of the camera. He's shaking his head already, so. We'll take that off. I'll turn the heat off, but it's still cooking away on that hob. I'm just going to get this So brown rice obviously is a little bit healthier for you as well. I don't know why people complain about brown rice because it's actually not bad to eat at all. Hence why I'm putting it on a plate. I don't like a lot of rice, so Steve generally gets the larger portion, which I think might be that one. So we'll move that over there. Right, we're gonna portion this up. So Steve, just get in here so everybody can see the beautiful, beautiful colours. We've got the vegetables, we've got the chicken. So we've got some celery in there, we've got some mushrooms, we've got cherry tomatoes, we've got green beans. We've got quite a bit of garlic in there as well. And besides a few splashes down the side, I think we've about got it. Voila. Right, Steve. There you are. Here we have it. Cheers, everybody. So there we have it, the curry that I never showed you how I cooked last week. I've cooked this week. Actually, I said I'd do a taste test, didn't I? So I'm going for the messier plate. So I'm just going to lift this one up to you. So we're going to get a mushroom, bean, chicken with a sauce. Wow. See, can you hear the crunch from the vegetables? You've got the softness of the chicken. You've got the flavour of the sauce. That is perfect. But I would say that because I just cooked it. But I showed you the dish laid out. I showed you the ingredients. You don't need to go on weight. It's all about eyes, half an onion. Just have a look what was on there. And if you want to cook it, then go for it. Give it a blast with what I've used. You don't have to be exact to the point, but also if you want any tips and advice on how to cook it, then just drop me a message through Facebook or in the group, and I'll be more than happy to support you with it. Thanks very much for watching. As you guessed, I'm now going to drink my wine, good health, and eat my tea. And I'll speak to you soon. Keep safe, everybody. Lots of love.